All right. So some of you may be on Facebook. Um, I'm actually recording the show live in the studio, trying a new thing, studio cam up in the corner, and you might like it. So, anyways, I'm going to record a show. I'm not going to answer questions, stuff like that. This is just a live in the studio thing. Um, Checking it out, trying it, see if it works. Okay. All right. Record is on. Winter Blues / Confidence Show. It's the time of year to build your confidence back up. On today's show, welcome to Your Profit. I am your host, certified life and financial coach, Joe Shortridge. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you're not snowed in. We are supposed to get a lot of snow, and I'm up for it. I'm ready. I am ready. The snowblower's running, salt's on the porch, all that jazz. But anyways, today we're going to talk about a couple different things. It's almost like 3 shows in one. Okay, December is known as the month that your inner depression comes out. And it's really has to do with the same thing we've talked about before about winter depression, winter blues, stuff like that. It's uh, seasonal affective disorder. It's a type of depression that occurs during the winter months due to less sunlight. Symptoms include a low mood, lack of energy, change in your sleep, change in your appetite, and difficulty concerning different things like thinking about your old friends, stuff like that. So today we're going to go over a few things that should help you out. And it's it's hard to say. I mean, it's almost like when Thanksgiving shows up is when it really starts. Because think about it. Thanksgiving comes up, you're expecting all the family to come over. The family may not come over. They may have their own families that they have to go to. And a lot of people really get depressed about this stuff. And it's not something that you really need to worry about per se, unless it really affects you a lot deeper than what it should. It's more of like an annoyance than anything else. But let's talk about it today. Okay. So the thing is, let's start with Thanksgiving. Like I said, a lot of people expect their whole family to show up. And, you see it on the TV and all that, where the family just shows up and everybody's surprised. And there's the cousin that nobody talks to that shows up all surprised, or somebody from out of town. But reality is not like that. Reality is your expectations are like that. But what really happens is sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't. And, they may have their reasons for it, legitimate reasons. But you have to think about it this way is even though they may have legitimate reasons, they do have their own family to worry about. Okay. And maybe it's just time constraint thing. Who knows? But anyways, like I said, that's when this depression or symptoms really take off, because Thanksgiving is the time where everybody's to get together and be thankful for what they have. And it really starts making you think about what you have and how to achieve what you want better. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit later in the show. One of the other things is you think about the loved ones that have passed away and you miss them. You miss the friends that don't show up, Your as you grow older, your friends list actually gets smaller. And that's a normal thing. And that's all right. Another thing is when Thanksgiving comes around, you really start thinking about Christmas. And Christmas is a time to spread joy and all that. And sometimes you don't have people around you that you can spread the joy to. So you almost have to figure out ways that you can find more people. And one of the things I do, and I should have had them on here, I took them off the desk before I started recording, but I send out Christmas cards. I still do. I send out Christmas cards. A lot of people don't do that anymore. A lot of times, all their Christmas cards and birthday cards, like today, I drove up into Michigan, which granted, it's only 2 miles up to the post office, but I dropped off a birthday card to someone that lives in Michigan, and their birthday's coming up in like 2 days. So I wanted to jumpstart getting it to them instead of taking it to my post office where it would have to go to Ohio and then back up. But I send out Christmas cards, and I do it every year. It's almost like the list is actually getting smaller because I'm not sending it to people I haven't talked to in a while and stuff like that. But this is a way that you can do to make yourself feel more connected to your relatives and people you haven't talked to in a long time. It's a great way to start that conversation back up. A lot of people do it on Facebook. Well, Facebook is not really, how can I put it? It's not really that, boy, I'm lost for words right now. But when you do something on Facebook, you're kind of hiding behind your computer. But if you do it in real life or send them a Christmas card, it's a physical thing. And which is a lot better. It's better for that connection. It's more organic. I think that might be the word I was thinking of, more organic. Okay. And then what goes along with that is buying gifts for the family. And a lot of people get depressed because they can't afford to buy a lot of gifts for the families. Whether it's the family living in your house or somebody, like your brothers, sisters that are on their own. You can figure out different ways that you can buy gifts for people. You can save up throughout the year. I remember growing up, there was a thing at the credit union called a Christmas club. And what this is it was a way to save money throughout the year to buy Christmas gifts. It's a Christmas club. You put the money away. It's like a sinking fund for gifts. And it was a great way to save up money. But you can do it other ways. You can, cut back on your different spending. You can put it in a line item in your budget, stuff like that. But a lot of people this time of year really worry about buying gifts because if you buy people gifts, it's showing your love. And yeah, I know you're thinking, no, it's not, but true. It is true. And people will judge you by the type of gifts that you buy them. It may be wrong, but that's just life. But if you think about it this way, if you want to buy someone gifts, what is more important? Buying them a physical gift or buying them emotions? Okay. And what I mean by that is if you were to buy somebody a physical gift, you give it to them, here's this gift. Here, I bought you a cell phone. I don't know. Um, you buy them a physical gift. Yeah, that's something. It doesn't really build the emotional memory that a spending time with someone or taking them somewhere like to dinner or whatever. I mean, you don't want to take them to like the Virgin Islands or something like that to where it costs you thousands of dollars. Do something that you can build memories and have that the gift. Say, you know, I'm really strapped for cash. I'm trying to get my bills paid off. I'm trying to I'm trying to live debt free. I can't really afford to buy good gifts this year. So let's go do something. I mean, one of the things that just popped in my mind was the museum down in Dayton, Ohio. It's the Museum of the Air Force. Love the place. It's huge. If you have a friend that loves airplanes or even loves cars, stuff like that, Say, hey, let's take a drive. It's free to get in. It's only going to cost you in gas and time. And that's building memories. That's not just giving them a specific item. That is building memories that they will cherish for a long time. You buy them something, and I don't have anything on my desk right now to show you, but you buy them something and and you can actually build up more memories this way by having a non-physical thing. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's one of the big things that makes people depressed is people will worry about buying gifts. And let's not worry about that. Let's worry about building memories. And then another one is when this time of year comes around, people really think about the loved ones that passed. You know, I miss this person so much, that kind of thing. And you really shouldn't. I mean, you should remember them, but don't make it to where it depresses you. Because if it depresses you, you're really gonna struggle with it. Okay. So lost friends, let's cherish them, yeah. But let's not dwell on it enough that you're like, oh my God, they're not here, they're not here, they're not here. Well, let's celebrate the fact that you had time with them. Okay. Another thing is when this time of year comes around, you're sitting at your house a lot more because it gets darker earlier, stuff like that. And this all goes along, like I said, with the same thing that we talked about the winter blues. And it's okay. It's okay to think about that. It's okay to have a little bit of the winter blues, but don't let it change your life. Get out and move. Even though it's getting dark out sooner and cold out, bundle up, go for a walk. You still do the same things. You still have to move, still have to do the exercises, stuff like that. And it's mental too. This is helping you mentally. One of the things that I'm thinking about doing is joining the gym again. I stopped going to the gym because I could do things in the summertime. I can go to the park and walk or that, but now it's getting dark at 5 PM and I can't go to the park. So I was thinking about joining the gym again. And I'm still debating if I want to because I'm doing my DDPY yoga in the house and I'm still losing weight, stuff like that. But going to the gym also, you want to think that it builds connection. You think, well, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to hang out and I'm going to meet people and all that. And honestly, you don't. You go to the gym, you do the same workout, and you go home. So maybe it's something where you want to join a group or something like that. Find if there's a hobby that you like, that there's a group that is doing that in the wintertime because other people are getting depressed too at this time of year and they're trying to find things to do. So maybe that's something you want to think about. So anyways, let's go into building self confidence. Okay, back up. Editor, back up. So going along with that though, how do we change our outlook on life during this time of the year when everybody's getting depressed? Few things you do is practice gratitude, exercise regularly, surround yourself with positive people. And that all goes along with what I just said. If you want to exercise more, maybe you might want to join the gym for the winter and then cancel in the summertime. Find things that are going on in your community. Find groups that you can join. Not Facebook groups, actual physical groups that you can go and do things. Maybe there's people that play cards or a bowling league or anything like that. I was growing up, we always had to, as kids, we were forced to go to the bowling alley because our parents and everybody bowled. I hated that. But a few years ago, the family got together and they're like, hey, it's wintertime. Why don't we join a bowling league? It's a 9 is fine, just for fun, no pressure league. And I joined it. I had a blast. I actually enjoyed it because maybe it was something different. Instead of being forced to go and sit there and watch, I was participating. So maybe that's something you might want to think about. Join a group that does the same hobbies that you do. You can also change your negative thought patterns by focusing on self compassion and learning from failures instead of dwelling on them. Building routines, practicing mindfulness, um, nutrition is a big thing. Change your eating habits, especially in the wintertime, because we're sitting a lot more. And work on your relationships. So let's go over a few things that you can do to practice self gratitude and compassion. Okay, or excuse me, back up. So let's go over a few things that we can build this, our self confidence up with. Okay, focus on what you have. Regularly write down or reflect on three things that you're grateful for. Shift your focus to a positive aspect. Think about the things that you're grateful for. A lot of people think about their negative. No, think about what you're grateful for. What do you have? When you wake up in the morning, what are you grateful for? Are you grateful that you actually woke up? You know, um, embrace imperfections. This is a big one. Accept the mistakes accept the mistakes are part of your life and part of your growth. Shift that mindset. Back up. Shift that shift your mindset. Okay. Shift your mindset from I need to do this perfectly to I'll do my best. And that's the thing too, is a lot of people say, well, just do your best. I get that a lot at work because at work, we get put on different machines. And there's a cell that we call 40 cell that has the fastest machines in it. Everybody hates it. We call it the punishment cell, that kind of thing. And you honestly, it's hard to keep up with the machines. And I'm one the type of people that if a machine goes down, I can't just sit and watch it sitting there. I have to do something. And they are always saying, well, just do your best. Well, my best is running back and forth, So maybe when people say do your best, think of it a different way. Okay. Think about it as if doing your best really means just try your hardest or just put in the work. I don't know. Okay. But embrace imperfections. You're going to have imperfections in your life. There's going to be times when you're not good enough. Okay. I mean, that's being honest. There's times there's going to be when you're not good enough, but as long as you try, that's all that matters. Okay. Let's go on to number 2. Inappropriate physical activity and self care. Exercise regularly. This is one thing I talk about all the time. You've got to keep moving. One of the major things is when an elderly person breaks a hip or goes into the hospital, they don't come out because they're lying there doing nothing. You have to stay active. Physical activity can improve your mood, your outlook. It activates our activities like walking, swimming, yoga can help reduce stress and boost your well-being. That's, you know, I want to say there's common sense stuff, but a lot of people don't think of that. Prioritize sleep and rest. This is important to get the right amount of sleep, but don't go overboard. Don't lay around and say, well, I'm so tired. I'm going to go to sleep. Well, you're tired because you're not getting the proper amount of sleep and the proper type of sleep. And I've talked about that before, getting the right and proper amount of sleep. And it's a simple thing. Just set yourself a schedule. Ensure you're getting enough sleep and take time for yourself to recharge physically and mentally. Okay. Let's move on to number 3. Challenge your negative thinking. Replace your negative beliefs. Constantly replace negative self-talk and uplifting thoughts with or unhelpful. Constantly replace negative self-talk and unhelpful thoughts with positive thoughts. And a lot of people struggle with this because it sounds weird. Okay. When you're thinking to yourself, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. Your brain's saying, well, you're right. You can't. Okay. But you got to replace those thoughts with the positive thoughts. And it sounds weird though. I mean, we don't think this way. We don't think I am confident. I can achieve anything. Our natural state is not like that, but you really do need to think that way. Instead of thinking, well, I can't do this, think to yourself, I'm working towards being better at that. It sounds weird, but don't worry about it. Nobody hears you saying that. It's your inner thoughts. Learn from your failures. Instead of seeing setbacks as, you know, okay, back up. Learn from your failures. Instead of seeing setbacks as definitive failures, view them as opportunities to learn and improve for your future. And you really want to practice thoughts. Okay. And you really want to practice self-thought stopping. Okay. Sounds kind of weird. And I don't know why I typed it up that way, but be mindful of your thoughts. That's what it all comes down. Be mindful of your thoughts. Stop the negative thinking. It's going to be hard at first because we're ingrained to think that way. But just like anything else, the more you do it, the better you get at it. So really, when you have a negative thought, you don't have to get mad at yourself for thinking that way. That's natural. Just step back and think, well, wait a minute, why did I think that way? Why am I thinking so negative about something when there's positive stuff in there? I just have to bring out the positive stuff. And you really, moving on, number 4, you really want to build a supportive environment. Connect with others. And that goes back to, like I said, you can join groups or whatever. Find your niche. Find what you enjoy doing and stick to that. Even if you have to write stuff down, say, okay, I enjoy this, I enjoy this, I enjoy this, but I enjoy this more. So I put that at the top, and you'll build a list of the things that you enjoy doing, and then go and find groups that do that. Connect with people that enjoy the same stuff. Spend time with positive people. Nurture those relationships, because a strong social network can reduce feelings of loneliness and isolation. And I got to turn the phone off. I can hear it beeping. Da, da, da. This is what live recording is all about. Okay. And seek support. Back up. And seek support. Don't hesitate to reach out to people. If you reach out to someone and you're not gelling with them, if you don't feel right or that, move on. Find someone else. It's going to take time. You're going to have to go through a few people to figure out who you really want to hang out with. Okay. And adopt positive habits. That's number 5. Adopt positive habits. Create a routine. Start your day with consistent morning routines. This is very important. Before you even get out of bed, I recommend stretching, stuff like that. We've talked about it many times. Get up, do your meditation, do your affirmations, stuff like that. But get a routine and really practice mindfulness. Pay attention to the present moment to help declutter your mind. When you wake up, don't all of a sudden grab your phone and start scrolling on Facebook, doom scrolling. No, think about the positive thing. Think in your mind, okay, I need to do this, this, and this. Okay. And one of the things that will help you do all this stuff, because like I said, it's going to take time. This time of the year really brings out depression in people. And you really got to get ahead of that. You don't want to get stuck in that depression mode. And one of the ways that you do this is to build your confidence. You really need to build your confidence. So let's start with the question. What does confidence mean to you? Is it standing tall in a room full of people? Effortlessly speaking your mind? Or is it more about being quiet? Inner assurance that you can handle whatever life throws your way. Well, whichever you see it is, confidence is a skill. It's not something you're just born with, okay? It's something you can build and grow and practice over time. There are people that are built. There are people that are really born with a confident mindset, but majority of us, after having different things happen in our life, social proof it's called, kind of get that confidence knocked down. And you really want to build that back up. You don't want to be a narcissist, of course, but you want to build that confidence up. So today, let's break down what confidence really is, why it's important, and share some accountability steps that can boost your confidence, whatever your career, relationships, or even just your day to day life is. So, first, let's get into the basics. Confidence is often misunderstood. A lot of people think that a lot of people think it's about being loud, outgoing, or even perfect. And it's not. But, here's the truth: confidence isn't about being flawless, it's about being comfortable with who you are, imperfections and all. It's knowing your worth and letting the doubt or fear out of your potential. Okay, what do I mean by that? It means getting that doubt out of your mind and building, how should I put it? No, but let me back up. It's about getting that doubt out of, and fear out of your mind. And the thing is, like I've said many times, is our brains are designed to keep us comfortable. It doesn't matter what the situation is. We're always want to stay in that comfort zone. And with a lot of people, and I think it's ingrained in our humanity, I don't know, but they're always in doubt and fear. It's that fight or flight thing. I think it's ingrained from us from way back when we were fighting off tigers or something. I don't know. But confidence gives us the courage to take risks, gives us the courage to make decisions and face challenges head on. When you feel confident, you're more likely to speak out at meetings, ask for help, which is a big thing, and simply enjoy the moment instead of worrying about what others think. It's about being at peace with yourself, trusting that you have what it takes to do the things that you want to accomplish. You know, but let's be real about this a little bit. Building confidence isn't an overnight thing. It takes time. It takes energy. And the more you do it, the better you're going to get, just like anything else. So let's go over a few steps that'll help you with building your confidence. Let's start with self awareness. You can build confidence if you back up. So let's start with self awareness. You can build confidence if you don't. Uh, uh, wow. And I typed this up myself. You can't build confidence if you don't know where you're starting from. You want to ask yourself, what makes me feel insecure? What triggers my self doubt? Okay, these are a few questions you might want to ask yourself, and you can write these down too. So let me go over these again when I get done with this paragraph. It is publicly, is it, or is it publicly speaking? Let me start over. So let's start with self awareness. You can't build confidence if you don't know where you're starting from. Ask yourself, what makes me feel insecure? What triggers your self doubt? Is it public speaking? Is it meeting new people? Or maybe taking on new projects at work? But getting clear on what is holding you back. But getting clear on what is holding you back really is the first step to moving past it. Okay, so let's go back over those two questions, and maybe you want to write these down. What makes you feel insecure? Okay, write this down. And what triggers your self doubt? Let's talk about those two things. Okay, I want you to really think about this. What makes you feel insecure? Write some things down. And what triggers your self doubt? It's kind of both the same thing. And you might have the same answers for both of those, but it allows you to look at that on paper and come up with answers. Lots of times when we think about it in our mind, we can't come up with the answers. But if you put it on paper, having in front of you, you might have a better chance to come up with some good answers and write down a bunch of them. That way you can weed through them. Okay. So, for example, let's say you're nervous about speaking in front of a group. What is the root fear? Are you worried you're going to make a mistake or that people are going to judge you? Identifying these thoughts help you understand what you're fueling or what's fueling your insecurity. And from there, you can move on and choose the things that you want to change, because you're not going to change them all at once, but you want to choose those things that blah, 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 blah. Wow, I'm going to have to edit the hell out of this show. Identifying those thoughts that help you understand what is fueling your insecurity. And from there, you can change your beliefs. And if you write them down, it's an easy way to see, and you can review and stuff like that. So let's go on to step 2 is practicing self-compassion. It's easy to be hard on yourself. We feel like we're not living up to our potential because we're always holding ourselves to a higher standard, which you should. But guess what? Everybody messes up. We all have the moments where we doubt ourselves. The key is not to let those moments define you. When you make mistakes, the key is to not let those moments define you. When you make a mistake, instead of beating yourself up, treat yourself as if a friend would treat you. Treat yourself how a friend would treat you. If you did something wrong, would a friend go, "Hey, that's good"? No, a good friend will go like, "Hey," smack you in the back of the head and say, "Do it better." And remember, confidence isn't about never failing. It's about how you respond to that failure. Do you let it crush your spirit? Or do you rise from it? When you're building your confidence and you're noticing these things that you're doing wrong, don't beat yourself over it. Think about it and think about ways that you could have done it better, which you will in next time it happens. So that's step 3. Small goals to celebrate your wins. Confidence grows when you experience success, no matter how small it is. So instead of aiming for huge goals that feel too far out of reach, break them down into smaller goals. We've done this many times, constant never-ending improvement. Make them more manageable. Maybe it's speaking up in a meeting or striking up a conversation with a colleague that you've never spoken to. When you accomplish these mini goals, take a moment to acknowledge your success. You have to acknowledge your success. Celebrate it, celebrate the process and trust that the momentum that you build is going to boost your confidence more and more. It's just like the snowball effect. It's the snowball effect for confidence. Instead of being the snowball effect for doubt or debt, it's the snowball effect for confidence. And you really do want to get out of your comfort zone. This is step 4. Get out of your comfort zone. This is where the magic happens. Confidence doesn't grow in your comfort zone. It grows when you put yourself out of your comfort zone and really push yourself. Now, that doesn't really mean you should do something that's drastic or might hurt yourself. You don't want to say, "I'm going to jump off that cliff and I'll roll Instead of jumping flat, I'll roll and I have confidence that I will survive because I'll be rolling instead of laying flat. No, that's not how it works. You know, whatever it is, taking on new responsibility at work or, meeting new people by going to these different groups, simply trying something that you've never done before. Little challenges help you provide yourself. Little challenges help you prove to yourself that you're capable of doing something. And every time you face a fear and you come out on the other side happy or confident, your confidence will grow. Okay, so trust me on this. It works. And finally, step 5. Surround yourself with positive people, people that are going to hold you up. I've said this many, many times, and this is a very important thing. Get the people in your life that are going to hold you to higher standards. Get the people in your life that are going to praise you when you do things instead of saying, well, I would have done it this way, or you shouldn't have done it that way, or stuff like that. No, get the positive people in your life. It's very important. You want to build your social network, I guess, with positive people. And, one of the easiest ways to do that right now is to start by unfriending people on Facebook. Okay. Facebook and social media can really bring you down, but it also can really lift you up if you get the people on your page that have the confidence and have their, I don't want to say responsibility. What's a good word? Get the people on Facebook that will hold you to a higher standard and cheer you on, just like in real life. But it's easy on Facebook because you can go through and unfriend people and they won't even know. So you won't have the guilt of saying, oh, maybe I want to keep this person on my Facebook page. No, who cares? If they're bringing you down, delete. Okay. So let's move on. I know we're running a little long here. Some questions you should ask yourself. This will help build your confidence, build your goals, stuff like that. So, what are your plans? What are your goals? What are your dreams? Okay. I used the same script, I guess you call it, in the end of year, the new year, or new year, new you show. So you might recognize these. I just copy and pasted because I think that this is really good for this show. Okay. So what are your plans, goals, and dreams for the past 12 months? Evaluate how they went. List any goals you have made and start with list any goals you have made. Okay. List any goals you have made and start off the new year throughout the, wow. Okay. I'm going to have to edit this. All right. I'm going to step back a little bit. So what are your plans? What were your plans? What were your dreams? What were your goals for the past 12 months? Okay. So think about it and list them out. What did you do? How did you do on that? Did you accomplish those goals? If you didn't accomplish them, are you working on still accomplishing them next year? You don't want to put stuff off, but sometimes you have to. Okay. Number 2 is, what skills did you learn from these? Okay. So think about, what skills did you learn? And I know I just repeated the same thing I said, but that's what I mean is, you want to write stuff down and think about, okay, what did I learn? It's very important to learn. What skills did I learn that I didn't have before? And that's an easy thing to think about, because if you couldn't do something before, but now you can, that's a win. That's how you want to do it. Small steps. You didn't have to accomplish a huge goal, but if you had that win, that's a good thing. What did you accomplish this year that you're most proud of? Okay. So that's the same thing. What did you accomplish? What did you finish? Okay. One of the things is, I'm working on my book about my shared death experience. I'm almost done with it. I thought I was done, but then I thought, well, you know what? The dream section of it is the most important thing because that's one of my communications I have with Jackie is my dreams. So I went back and I kind of filled in the blanks, if you say, to where I to where I hmm, so I went back and I worked on the dream section of the book and I filled it in a little more, basically filling in the blanks. And it reads so much better now because instead of just saying, yeah, I had a dream about her, this, I explained how, okay, and what was in the dream and what was the things I've learned from that dream or things I've thought about. So that's one of the skills that I learned this year. And that's one of the things that I wanted to accomplish by the end of the year, but I didn't. But it's okay because it's better. It's going to be better for the reader, and it makes me feel better that I filled it in and made me really think. Okay, no, that wasn't that simple. This happened. This happened. This happened. Okay, so that's one of the things I learned. And what were the several highlights of the year? In the last few years, you've been thrown a lot. A lot of stuff has been going on, but a lot of this may bring up those sad, depressing feelings if you've been thrown a lot. So think about the highlights. What were the good things of the last year? And this is going to help you break that depression mode because instead of thinking of the negative, you're thinking of the positive. What did you do over the summer? What did you go on vacation? Well, how was it? Did you go to a good show? Did you go to see a good band? Stuff like that. Think about the positive. Don't think about all the negative stuff that might have happened. And yeah, there's going to be negative stuff. But like I say, if you think about the positive, you're not going to dwell on the negative. Here's another one, and it's kind of goes back with writing the book, is what did you accomplish this year that you're most proud of? One of the things that I have accomplished over this summer is working on the book. And a lot of people are using like AI to write books real fast now, but I've been working on this book for a long time. And I feel that I'm not going to release it until it's ready. Now, saying that, you can't keep dwelling on it. There's got to be a time where it's done. Okay. And I think once I finish these dream sections, it's done. My goal was to get to 100 pages. I'm at 90. It's done. Okay. All I got to do now is go through and format it a little better. But the actual typing of it and the formatting is just going to be like one night of work. It's going to be done. I've got the cover done, all that. So that's what I'm proud of. That's what I'm proud of. I'm proud that I am accomplishing writing this book and getting the word out to people. And this might help other people. Okay. Okay. Number 6. Okay. And number 6 is what went well and what didn't go well. Okay. This is a simple one. This is take you 5 minutes to do. Think about what you did good, what you did bad, the bad things, how you're going to fix, stuff like that. So that's an important thing to do, though, is really think about what went well and what didn't go well. And this will be a great way to get you out of that depression because you'll think about what went well. And if you think about the stuff that didn't go well, you're going to think a positive way to get that, and you're going to think about a positive way to make that better. And what is the biggest thing you've learned? What is the biggest thing that you've learned over the past year? Now, I know the year has gone very fast, but think about it. Let's make this a takeaway. Let's write this down. What did you do and how did you feel? As you think of like number 4, which was, let me pan back up here. What did you accomplish for the year and what are you most proud of? Think about how that makes you feel, why it makes you feel that way. What can you do to make it better? You may think, oh, this is the most awesome thing in the world. What can I do to make it better? That's the kind of thing. But let's think about Let's take time to rethink our goals for the upcoming year. And let's think about our goals that we tried to accomplish last year. Did you accomplish those goals? If not, try this year to get them. Okay. And it all goes back to the depression. We started out the show talking about how this time of year can make you really depressed because of the different things. Like I said, Thanksgiving, Christmas, all that, the family, loved ones have passed, I got to buy gifts for everybody, stuff like that. It really makes you depressed. But there's ways that you can beat that depression. And it's real simple. Change happens in a second. Okay. Just don't dwell on it. Acknowledge and move on. All right. So that's the show. Let's beat this winter depression that's coming up. It's December. It's the holiday season. Everybody gets a little bit depressed. Find different ways. Send out the Christmas cards. Decorate your house with lights. Put lights on your house. It doesn't matter if it's one string, as long as you drive up in that driveway and you look at those lights, and you're like, yeah, I put those up. One of the things that our family does, we get together one night every year and we drive around and we look at Christmas lights. Maybe that's a way that you can get out of your depression. You can drive around, look at the lights. Now, don't think about it as, wow, look how much money these people have. They can have all these lights in their house. No, think about it as in they're doing that so that other people see their lights and get joy from seeing their lights. So drive around and enjoy the view. And that gets you out of the house too. All right. So that's the show for this week. I hope you enjoy it. If you get some help out of the show, I guess, let me know. Let me know your thoughts on this week's show. And really, if you enjoy the show, please pass it on to a friend. Tell a friend about the show. Hit that subscribe button. I'm going to put most of the stuff in the show notes so you can read it if you need to. But the takeaway that I want you to have from this show is one thing is write down your thoughts. Write down what you accomplished last year, what you didn't accomplish, how you're going to accomplish it this year, stuff like that. Okay. And think about those questions I asked. Let me pan through here to see if I can find them real quick. I don't see them. But anyways, think about what you've done in the past and how you can change the future. Okay. That's going to knock you out of that depression that you're going to have this year. Okay. So anyways, thanks for listening this week. Hope you enjoy the show. Remember, hit that subscribe button. It really means a lot to me. Tell a friend about the show and go on the Facebook page and tell me what you're doing to beat your winter blues, beat that depression. Okay. Thanks for listening. I will talk to you next week. Goodbye. Oh, man. Got the coughs. All right. If you're watching in the corner cam, thanks for watching. I know I'm not looking at you when I talk, but I'm trying to do a new behind the scenes type deal thing. All right. Goodbye.